So I wonder, how many speeches have there been? And how many times have I put myself up in front of you and pretended to preach? I'm really asking, what do you all think? How many times? Dante, how many times do you think?
I don't know.
Francis?
Over 200?
Over 200. Yeah,
Sounds about right.
That's probably accurate. Over 11 years, over 200 times that I've been standing in front next to with you. This feels like a really special speech. A really special moment. First of all, this is a special moment for you all. A special moment for your families. A special moment for our whole community. Less important, but also special, 200 speeches, Francis, right? This is the first time I'm talking in front of my daughter, Eliana. Yeah, that makes this really special too. I have 3 simple messages for this special speech. Number 1, I am sorry. Number 2, thank you. Number 3, I love you. I am sorry, thank you, and I love you. I have another question to get us started. In those over 200 speeches, I don't really know if it's that many, friends. In those almost over 200 speeches, what has been the main theme, the main motif, the main message that you all feel like has run through those 200 or so speeches? Again, I'm really asking, what do you all think has been the main message that I've said in those 200 speeches or so?
We can change the community around us.
Yeah, thanks, Angelica. Let's snap for Angelica, right? I have said for over 200 times some version of, go change the world, you are destined to change the world, be the change you wish to see in the world, go change the world. That has been my main message for over 200 speeches. Let me take you back in time. Hey, it's June 18th, 2007. It's the first day of the first summer with the first class of Student U students.
Good morning.
And here's what I ask you to do. I ask you to take a green circle and I ask you to write how you are going to change the world. That's what I ask you to do, June 18th, 2007. This is before the first Joy to the World tunnel, before the first affirmation, before the first Cheza time. This is the first thing that I ask you to do, to write how you are going to change the world. I'm 21, you're 11. And the world is spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning around you. Right? You're all realizing I was 21. Talk about full circle, right? Talk about full circle. So, you're 11, and the world that I'm asking you to change, it is spinning around you. There is racism, there is classism, there is sexism, there is so many isms that are spinning around you, and I say, go change the world. You're 11. That's a lot of pressure. That is a lot of pressure. Now, year after year, speech after speech, all 200 of them, my message stays the same. Go change the world. And as that message stays the same, that world keeps on spinning, right? Some of you have to deal with the tragic loss of friends and family members. Some of you get your status as an American ripped away from you. You all deal with countless examples of that racism and classism and sexism and all those isms that continue to spin around you and around you and around you, trying to knock you down, trying to hold you down. And my message is the same. Go change the world. So rather than me asking, well, why does this world need to be changed in the first place? Right? Rather than saying, how can I use my own power to try to change that world, I put the pressure on you. And I think that's a lot of pressure. That's a really big responsibility. So there's a word I want to teach you. It's actually a Hebrew word. The word is Dayenu. Does anyone know what Dayenu means in the room? Yeah, what does it mean?
It's like, thank you for getting the time that we are reach or get there.
Okay, the cones are really answering the questions in the room. I love it. Thank you. Bella, do you have another definition you want to add? Bella, an unsung student you hero.
Ding, from the word ding, low,
Yeah.
low.
So the way that I learned the word Dayenu is it means it would have been enough. Dayenu, it would have been enough. I want to talk about that idea today. It would have been enough. So had I on June 18th, 2007 said to you, just show up. All of your friends are out during summer break, enjoying playing outside. I want you to show up. Dayenu, right? That would have actually been enough. But I asked more of you. I said, don't only show up, but I also want you to own your own education. I also want you to succeed yourself. If that was all I would have asked you, Dayenu, it would have been enough, but I asked you to do more. I asked you not to just worry about yourself. I asked you to worry about everyone around you. But guess what? That's not all I asked you. That would have been enough too. I also asked you to build the Student U community. I asked you all to not just be students, but to be teachers and leaders and mentors, to be the guinea pigs that we piloted every program on. And when I felt sad, when I felt weak, when I felt afraid, I asked you all to be by my side, keeping me strong. Dayenu, that would have been enough, but there was more. I also asked you to stand up and give speeches. I asked you to represent Student U. I asked you to write letters to investors. I asked you to represent Student U to that same world that Student U depended on, that I was also asking you to change. That is a lot of pressure. That is a lot of responsibility. And I really want to say at this moment, I'm sorry. That was a lot of pressure to put on you. And I mean that genuinely. I'm sorry. Now here is where the real miracle of Student U lies. People always talk about what is that Student U special sauce. I'm going to tell you right now. You all did it. You all somehow did all of that. Right? You did show up day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, even though teachers came and went, programming came and went, buildings and bus drivers came and went, right? You all showed up. And Dayenu, that would have been enough. But then you did own your own education. You did succeed. You did navigate those systems of racism and inequality. You did make it here today. Dayenu, that would have been enough too. But then you did build the whole Student U community. There are 550 students and families who might not know your faces. They might not know your names, but they feel your spirit. They feel the spirit that you infused into the Student U community. You did build Student U, and then something else happened. Remember those circles that you wrote on that first day when you said, this is how I'm gonna go change the world? You actually did that, right? You actually went and you actually changed the world. And you didn't just succeed in the center of a world that was spinning around you. You actually changed the way that the world spins. You became leaders on your campuses. You became advocates. You told people in power that they needed to use their power more equitably, and now you're actually becoming those people in power. Right? You are becoming the nurses, the teachers, the board members, the community organizers. You are becoming the individuals that we all can look at to see what happens when we put our heart and our mind into something that we care about. That brings me to my second message. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for changing the world for me. Thank you for changing the world for Eliana, for our future son. Thank you for changing the world for everyone that is in this room tonight. Thank you. This brings me to my third point. Anyone remember what my third point is? Say it again. What is that? Yeah, I love you. Yeah. This is actually directed to the parents and families first. I'll get to you all in a second. But for the parents, for the families here, I love you. I really, really love you. I asked you to do something too. I asked you to trust me. Right? I asked you to trust the 21-year-old with the long blonde hair and the scraggly beard, right? I asked you to trust me. Now, I don't even trust Eliana with her own grandparents, let alone a stranger. We've had 0 babysitters since we moved to New York City. Ask Amanda, that's true. And you all trusted me. Now, this was not a laissez-faire, hands-off kind of trust. Not at all. This was a trust that you demonstrated by pushing me. This was a trust that you demonstrated on that first day, right after your kids wrote in those beautiful green circles how they were going to change the world. You all called a meeting with me that night. More than 50 of you showed up and you said, if you want me to continue to trust you, you have to get better. You have to improve. And then for 11 years, you trusted me by pushing me. You trusted me by challenging me. You trusted me by calling me. You trusted me by ensuring that this community that we were building together was worthy of your kids. I love you for trusting me. So another unsung hero in this Student U world, Michael Uckelsteiner, he once told me this story about a student who came up to him and said, "Thank you for seeing me for whom I could one day become and for treating me in that way. Thank you for seeing me for whom I can become and for treating me in that way." I love you because you taught me what that means. You saw me for who I could become and you treated me in that way. You saw this. You saw Student U for what it could become and you treated us in that way. I love you for teaching me that lesson. I love you for letting me practice that lesson on your own children. And I love you for inspiring me to do that for my own children. Now, I love you all too, a lot, obviously. And I really love the individual paths that we've all been on together, the unique relationships that we share. And I've done my best in a letter that you'll get later to tell you personally about that relationship and that love. I love you all too. I am sorry. Thank you. And I love you. Now, if this was the end, Dayenu, it would be enough. But we in this room, we can see what the world can one day become. And until it is as it should be, until we actually get to that mountaintop and see that brilliant view, our journey will continue. Thank you.